It is waiver wire day. Get those requests in, and here are Michael Fabiano's top 10 selections. Fabs, Tyrod Taylor at the top. I assume that has something to do with injuries to the position.
Well, a lot of quarterbacks that have become hurt. Let's put it that way.
A little bit. Some, longer than others. As we welcome you back, Money here with Fabs and Marcus and Akbar. So if you're 0-2, if you're the Seahawks, if you're the Eagles and the Colts, who cares? I can keep going. People are freaking out right now. It's early. There is still time to improve your roster via the waiver wire, and that's what we're here to help you with, to plug those holes caused by those big injuries. Fabs, as we saw there, Tyrod Taylor, your top target for the week. Who else do you like?
Well, I'm taking a look at a guy in Green Bay who is probably better served to be picked up by people who have Eddie Lacy, and that's James Starks. Eddie Lacy suffered the injury last week, and it looked pretty bad. Don't know if he's going to play or not on Monday night, but the fact that they are playing the last game of the week basically means if you're a Lacy owner, you have to have James Starks because either way you're covered. If Lacy's active, well, Starks is on your roster as insurance. You start Lacy. If he's out, well, Starks can be plugged into your lineup. And James Starks has had some games in this league where he's put up some pretty good numbers.
Staying running back, Marcus?
I am staying running back, and I'm going with Dion Lewis. I mean, coming into the season, we always have that fear of what's going to happen in the Patriots' backfield. We never really know. But we saw on Sunday, Dion Lewis, a big part of what they do, he even put the ball on the ground against the Buffalo Bills and stayed in the football game. And that, to me, seems to be a measure of how much confidence Bill Belichick has in Dion Lewis. He certainly had more touches than LeGarrette Blount. He was a bigger part of what they do. The fact that he can run it effectively, as you see right here, just tagging tacklers with him. The fact that he catches the ball out of the backfield effectively there means he can do so much in that Patriots offense that maybe it's time to start believing that I won't say Belichick's are over, but at least Dion Lewis seems to have tamed them for now.
Yeah, don't say that Belichick's is over, but I will keep it with the running back family. David Johnson is a guy that I think has to be targeted in waiver wire. You see what he's doing with his limited amount of touches here. His 9 touches, 3 touchdowns. Very productive. This is a guy that I would call a playmaker. He finds the opportunity and goes out there. Bruce Arians already said this week that his role is going to increase each and every week. So, look, this is a good opportunity to stash him. I don't say that you go out and play him, but I think you kind of wait to see how they are going to develop him. His production way better than Chris Johnson, who's the starter.
I typically like to shy away from the obvious. Not hard to pick Matt Jones when you look at 25 fantasy points in week 2. Those 22 touches, nearly 150 scrimmage yards, the 2 touchdowns, did lose the fumble. But you mentioned Bruce Arians. I'm going to go all the way to the front office beyond Jay Gruden and Scott McCloughan. And what he said he expected coming into this season, he wanted to beef up that offensive line. He wanted to be a nasty team, and they are going to run the heck out of the ball. 37 rush attempts against, you could argue, the most fearsome front four in all of the NFL, and they ran it right down their throats repeatedly. Love Matt Jones as a pickup. They're going to continue to split carries there with Alfred Morris. All right, Marcus, let's keep it going.
I'm going to go with Stevie Johnson. This is my weekly plea, America. Please, love Stevie Johnson. Love Stevie Johnson.
I love him for you.
You should, because this is a guy who's getting more and more work in the Charger passing game. They don't have a true number 1. They're still without Antonio Gates at the tight end position, and Johnson keeps being a bigger part of what they do. You forget about Keenan Allen and that whole huge week 1. He came back to earth in week 2, but Johnson just keeps on keeping on. You see him finding the end zone right here. They're going to throw the football to him. They don't have a true number 1 receiver. Stevie Johnson's still a young, still talented guy, and he's going to be a big part of a lot of fantasy teams.
Well, we know with the New York Giants, the whole world is focusing on Odell Beckham. And I think that the one guy that doesn't get paid a lot of attention to is this guy, Larry Donnell. He's got, so far, 6 targets in the red zone, and he's been pretty good in the red zone area. So when you look at his production in the red zone area, I think that this guy could have the opportunity to produce as a tight end for you, going up against a Washington Redskins team that's kind of average against tight ends.
You mentioned your plea for fantasy owners to own Stevie Johnson. I've been doing this for years with Michael Crabtree because I have that college bias, and I will say it for as long as I live. I have never seen a stronger pair of hands in college football than Michael Crabtree's when he was at Texas Tech. And you heard Derek Carr say that coming out this game, that the Raiders won over the Ravens, that you can throw anything in his direction. You wouldn't know it by that bobble there. And he will snatch it up. 16 targets in that game, only started in 9.5%. So I guess this is a waiver wire trade plea. If he's only started in 10% of your leagues, go snatch him up, because with Amari Cooper getting all that attention, he's getting one-on-one coverage and making the most of it. Fabs.
Yeah, Travis Benjamin. You want to talk about a guy, Akbar, who doesn't see a lot of touches, but makes the most with those touches?
Yeah.
This is a guy who has 3 touchdowns on 6 receptions this year. And if you get points for return yards and touchdowns, which, by the way, you guys, every league should be standard in that fashion, he is someone who needs to be picked up right away. I'd rather have Benjamin right now than a guy like Charles Johnson. If you picked up Benny Cunningham to start a couple of weeks ago, he's still rotting on your roster right now. Drop him. Pick up Benjamin. I'm not saying he's doing this every single week, but he's showing flashes of brilliance.